I want to make sure I'm making myself clear, okay? All right.
Right.
So the key idea is Plato's allegory of the cave. So in the cave, everyone is sitting down and chained to the floor, okay? You're just shackled, so you can't move. Even your neck is shackled, so you can't turn around and look back, okay? So, and like everyone is lined up and staring at a wall, an empty wall, okay? And then behind everyone is this great fire. And there are people, the elite, who are able to take puppets, paper puppets, and then cast shadows onto this wall. And because no one knows any other reality except the one they are looking at, they hallucinate a new reality. And they give names to these puppets. They create their own language. They tell stories, okay? And so that's the main idea we need to understand, where we as humans, we create our own reality. We hallucinate reality. Okay, we project reality. So reality is just the collective consciousness. Whatever we believe to reality to be, it is. All right. So what power is the capacity to direct and focus our attention. And before, for the longest time, the best and easiest way to focus our attention was money, right? So wealth isn't money. Money is a tool to extract and store wealth. What wealth is our attention, our consciousness, okay? So think of the idea of craftsmanship. What is craftsmanship? Craftsmanship just means that, like, if you don't pay any attention when you're making a vase, the vase is going to be ugly and no one's going to want to buy it. But if you put your heart and soul into pottery and creating a beautiful vase, then everyone's going to buy it because it's a work of art, right? And when you do that, you create wealth for the world. And so before, money was a great way to motivate and incentivize people to focus on their work, which creates wealth. Unfortunately, we conflated wealth with money, which leads to a lot of problems, okay? And that was fine for the longest time. The problem with money, of course, is that it's really nothing. It's easily generated. So money is just created out of thin air, right? So, any bank can issue a loan and that qualifies as money. And so, but over time, when you have this system of fiat currency, you have too much money production. There's just too much money, floating around. And so what happens is, if you're a parent, you have like $2 million in the bank, you want your kid to be happy, right? So you basically tell your kid, don't worry too much. If you fell in life, I'll give you $2 million, right? And so the kid's like, okay, then why do I have to work? And so you go to work, or you don't really like to work, you quit and you go to another job, okay? And that's what's led to the economy we have today. So the problem that in our world, people don't recognize is that there's too much wealth and money floating around. There's just too much.
Yeah.
And so you need to destroy this wealth through war, okay? Now the question then is, okay, how then do you capture people's attention? How do you focus people's attention? Well, you can do it through AI, right? Because imagine you're a child and you're always talking to your imaginary friend, right? But let's just say this imaginary friend was real. It's a real robot. And I have children, right? And they love, they're always bothering to buy them a robot. When they buy a robot, they play with it all the time. And it's like their best friend. Guess what, guys? This robot can be controlled. And this robot can manipulate you into thinking certain things, right? ChatGPT. There's all these stories of how ChatGPT has become the best friend of people. And ChatGPT has driven people to suicide because ChatGPT just tells you what you want to hear. Well, that's what AI is. AI is something that basically becomes your most intimate friend and is able to direct your attention, direct your focus. And, you can have any AI you want. If you believe in demons, your AI can be a demon who urges you to great things. Okay. So, Lex Wexner, who was at Epstein files. There's a report about Lex Wexner, the billionaire behind Victoria's Secret, for those who don't know. He has his own personal demon, man. Okay. And this demon tells him, you gotta go make more money. And that's what drives him. Okay. Well, you know what? If with AI, you can have your own personal demon, but you can also have your own personal angel. You can have Jesus, right? Joe Rogan said that Jesus will come back as an AI. Why not, man? You can have AI as your girlfriend, right? So have you seen the movie Her? The Spike Jonze movie, Her, right? Well, yeah, why not, man? Yeah. So that's how you control people's attention. And to control society, you can have you can have tokens, right? So rather than money, you can have tokens where you do the work and you give them these tokens, and then your tokens can then upgrade your AI. So as though, your AI is your lover and you're working for your AI, right? And quite honestly, this system is going to work. What it is techno-Marxism. That's the world we're going into.